What's up everyone, it's Kelly and today I've got another swatch review for you. So today is actually the very first video that I'm filming in my new apartment. I'm really nervous. I don't know if this is like my exact vibe just yet, so definitely let me know your thoughts on it, but that's not what this video is about. Today we are talking about the Cuccio Speakeasy collection for autumn 2022. So we've got 8 new polishes, 3 of them are a cream finish and then 5 of them are a shimmery sort of finish. But first, if you haven't heard of Cuccio before, they are a mainstream nail polish brand that is 10 free, meaning they are free of 10 of the potentially harmful ingredients that are often found in nail polish. They are also vegan, meaning they do not use any animal-derived ingredients, and they are cruelty free, meaning they do not test their products on animals. And Cuccio, in my opinion, is just one of those very underrated brands. I feel like nobody really talks about them or uses them, but I absolutely love them. In fact, the Cuccio base coat is probably my most often used base coat, aside from the Orly Bonjour base. Those are just my 2 favorites. But I have to admit, I was a little bit nervous about this collection. I've kind of developed high expectations for the Cuccio fall collections because they always do really amazing ones. But recently, I've just felt like their shimmer finishes have not been up to my standards. So I was worried because the majority of this collection is shimmery finishes, and I was concerned that maybe they weren't going to be opaque enough. But I don't want to spoil it, so let me show you the swatches first, then we'll talk a little bit more about pricing, availability, my thoughts on the collection. So yeah, let's just dive into it and roll the footage. So as with all of my swatch and review videos, I am using base coat underneath all of my swatches just to protect my natural nail and prevent any stains. Today I am using the Cuccio base coat, so I will link that down below. So we'll start off with the cream finishes. This first one is called the Bee's Knees, and this one is what I would describe as a caramel cream polish. So it's this really beautiful, slightly dusty, orangey brown shade. As you can see, it's incredibly opaque. It actually gave me 1 coat coverage, but I am doing 2 just to show you what it looks like. It reminds me a lot of that Cuccio chocolate collection that they did, I think it was 2 autumns ago, and I absolutely loved it. Next up, we have the shade Sitting Pretty, and this one is a really pretty, dusty, pinky brown color. It actually ended up looking a little bit deeper on me, I think because I am pretty pale, so it looks a lot more of that pinky color and a lot deeper than it does in the bottle. And I think in the bottle it looks a lot lighter and it has a little bit more of like a blush brick kind of color. But again, really amazing formula. I love the Cuccio cream formula. It's super beginner friendly. It evens out really nicely on the nails and it's just super opaque. Next up, we have the shade On the Up and Up, and this one is a beautiful cranberry cream shade. So it's this nice deep pinky red color. You can see this one was a little bit less opaque than the others. It had that almost jelly-like formula, which I feel like is actually pretty common with this type of red or pink kind of color. It just seems more common to have it in a jelly-like finish, but it does end up giving full opacity in the second coat, and it looks a lot more like a cream once you reach that full opacity. By the way, I feel like I haven't swatched on camera in about a month, and I feel like I'm very much off my game, so if my swatches are a little imperfect, I am sorry about that, but it's been a while, but I'm getting back into the swing of things. I'm on the up and up, you might say. So now moving on to the first shimmer, this one is called Hotsy Totsy, and I was nervous, and believe me, I was very disappointed. Even though I was kind of expecting this to happen, I was still disappointed because I have had so many great Cuccio shimmers in my life, and for some reason, the recent ones just haven't been doing it for me. So you could see in that first coat, it was completely sheer. Second coat, it was incredibly patchy. The third coat, still very patchy. It's supposed to be this intense fuchsia shimmer, and then it has a sort of duochrome finish where it looks a little reddish and even orangey around the edges, but even in 3 coats it just wasn't doing it. I ended up applying a 4th, and honestly I feel like even 4 coats wasn't enough, and I have very short nails, so was very disappointed in this one. I don't see myself wearing a polish that takes more than 4 coats, especially for a pretty simple color like this. So then we have the shade Giggle Water, and this one is a really beautiful shade. shade, and I was relieved to see that the formula was actually good for it. So this one, I almost want to call it like a gray multi-chrome. It's got that oil slick kind of vibe. You can't see the full depth of the colors in my swatch because it really just depends on how you move your hand around, but it's kind of this silvery base. And then the main colors you see are like a turquoise and a purple, but then around the edges it turns into like pink and red and orange and even green. So it's just a very rainbowy vibe. It reminds me of OPI, Peace and Love and OPI, and I loved the formula on this. 2 coats, full coverage. Next up we have 3 very deep shimmery shades. This first one is called the Cat's Pajamas, and it is a very deep purple shimmer. So the base color itself, I think it's actually a black base, but then we have this really intense violet shimmer running throughout. And in the first coat, it was a little bit sheer, but I ended up getting full coverage in that second coat. And you can see, this is one of those polishes that in low light, it looks like black on the nails, but then once the light catches it, you get that intense shimmer and it looks so beautiful. It feels like a perfect fall/winter color. I love shades like this. Next up, we have the shade the It Girl, and this one is a very, very deep red base. And then we have what looks like either larger glitters or possibly even a little flaky, and it looks pretty violet straight on, but then as you shift around, you can see an almost reddish kind of glow to it that even looks a little bit gold in some light. And I think this is another super gorgeous shade. It's a little bit vampy and it doesn't quite look black on the nails, but it's a very deep shade, and then you get that gorgeous glittery sparkle. And you can see the way that it's glittering, you can tell that there's those larger glitters or flakes in there. And again, just really beautiful 2-coat full coverage here. And last but definitely not least, we have the shade Putting on the Ritz. And oh man, my camera did not do this one justice. This was another one that had that pretty blackened base color, and then we have these really gorgeous multi-chromish flakies going on in there. And the main colors that you see are really this gold into green, but then it also shifts into blue at certain angles. And this is just such a beautiful, deep, glittery color. You can actually see on camera a little bit of like an orangey color coming off of the gold, but another just very vampy shade. It feels like the perfect Halloween color. It looks black on, but then when the light hits it, it's just so sparkly and gorgeous. And again, 2 coats, perfect coverage. So here are all of the shades together, and I'm really pleasantly surprised with this. I think that the way that the polishes were curated was done very well. I love the 3 cream finishes together. I think the colors look so beautiful together, and then I love those deep vampy shades on the bottom row. The 2 outliers of the collection, I would say, are the 2 middle shades. I absolutely love that silver multi-chrome kind of finish, although I'm not sure that it belongs in this collection. And I also was just very disappointed with that pink shimmer because it just did not reach full opacity. But overall, I really enjoyed this collection. So let's talk a little bit more about that. So those are the polishes, and honestly, overall, I'm really impressed with them. There was one polish that just wasn't opaque, and it was kind of reminiscent of the previous Cuccio shimmers that I didn't like. And I could actually kind of tell just from the bottle that it was gonna be one of those sheer polishes, but the rest of them really impressed me. I thought the colors themselves were gorgeous. They reached full opacity, and they performed really well, like what I've been used to seeing from Cuccio. And of course, their cream finishes are absolutely incredible. I just think they're so opaque and so easy to use. It's very beginner friendly, so I definitely recommend these. I would say overall, the vast majority of these were incredibly nice. I also have to say I'm really happy with their new-ish brush. It wasn't this past season, but it was fairly recently that they switched over. They've always had a wide flat brush, but now it has a rounded tip, and I just think that makes application even easier, so I'm very happy with that as well. So I get my Cuccio polishes from HB Beauty Bar, which is an online retailer, and there the 13 milliliter bottles retail for $6.95 USD. And I also have a discount code. You can use the code KELLI to get 22% off your whole order there. And like I said, I love the Cuccio base coat. I also really love their high gloss top coat, so if you're picking out a bunch of stuff, I recommend those as well. But yeah, that's it for my thoughts on these polishes, but I'm curious to hear what you think of them, so So definitely leave your thoughts in the comments and we can chat about it. If you enjoy my swatch and review videos, please give this one a thumbs up. It lets me know I'm doing a good job. And if you're not already subscribed to my channel, please consider subscribing. I put out new videos every Tuesday, Friday, and Sunday. I also have a vlog channel where I have been documenting my whole moving process, and I also showed a little tour of my new apartment, so if you're interested in that, I'll link it up in the cards. And I also have a podcast, so if you haven't listened to that, we are actually doing the final episode of the first season this week, so I'm gonna link that down in the description as well for anybody who's interested. And of course, a huge shout out to my Cosmic Admirals on Patreon, Amanda M, Rocket Man's daughter, and Paola. I really appreciate your support, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye. Today's fun fact question comes from Patreon supporter Pookie Bear, and Pookie Bear wants to know, what's something weird that you're afraid of? Are you guys ready for an incredibly strange phobia that I have? Actually, no, I'm not gonna call it a phobia because it's not something that really gets me worked up. It's just something that I always get like a pang of fear when I see, but it's super weird. So I have a little bit of a fear of cars where one headlight is out. It's so bizarre to even say it. So I think there's two aspects to it. The one irrational part of it that freaks me out, I don't know why, because I can't think of a horror movie that has this, but for some reason it makes me think of like a horror movie that like this haunted vehicle is following me. I don't really know. I feel like there's also this worry that like I can't tell if they're on one side or the other. Like I can't tell which light it is because I also have a not great time seeing in the dark. So that kind of freaks me out. I obsessively check my own car to make sure that the headlights are working properly. So it's a silly, weird little fear. And I think for the most part, I'm okay with it. It's just that I like get this weird little pang of fear when I see it at night. So yeah, that's my weird fear. But if anybody else has other strange fears that they want to share, or if you share mine for whatever strange reason, let me know in the comments. We can chat about it. And I'll see you all in my next video. Bye.